Good evening and welcome to Sid Says, your weekly, monthly, in terms of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Every monsoon, by the looks of it. Transfer latest updates, all your gossip, all the latest news, all the incomings and outgoings. And joining me today to discuss the potential outgoings as well as incomings, which we're all sitting and praying. I know every single person is praying for this centre back. But let's discuss this with Sam Spurs for Life. Good evening, Sam. How are you?
Yes, Sid. How are we doing? I'm good, thank you. Can you hear all right?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. Well,
eventful
week.
Friday. It's Friday. Yeah, it is.
Friday's good. An eventful week, as always, in the Spurs world. I had a good week myself, and we can. I guess we have to do this. We have to go through this rumour mill, this circus, whatever you want to call it. You said it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we move on, please, everyone, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and also, we've got Paxton Road TV, and running parallel with that, which we'll be swapping over to, is PR TV. So make sure you're subscribing and smashing both the channels. And eventually we'll move over to PR TV when the season starts. So if you're not accustomed to it, just jump along to PR TV as well. So, Sam, new manager came in a while back now. Everyone was obviously, some people were a little bit skeptical. A lot of people were like, you know what, he's coming now. We've got to give him a chance. He's come in. He's been obviously had conversations with the hierarchy, and they've promised him whatever they've promised him. And the season started. We've brought in three players, the goalkeeper. We've brought in right winger, and we've brought in a midfielder, attacking midfielder in James Maddison. But the biggest concern and the biggest problem we've had all last season, and there still talks about it, is this centre back. Before we go into this centre back discussion, since he's come in, Angie's not had the best of starts, has he, really, in terms of all the players have come back from loan. He's got a massive influx of players now at the club. He's got rid of he's got rid of Winks. A few of us are on the cards. Training's been happening. Certain players only came back halfway into his sessions. Harry Kane, Son only came back a couple of days before Australia. They've gone to Australia. We've beaten by West Ham. Okay, it was their third game. It was our first game. Then we've got a game rained off, and then we've played the other day against a very low league players, and we went 1-0 down, obviously, and then we won the game 5-1. Before we move on to obviously the main topics, how must Ange be feeling at this precise moment?
I can only go by my limited experience as a manager and coaching football and knowing a little bit. He's brought in to obviously replace Conte, the old style of football, the defensive style of football that us as fans did not want to see. We were low down, 20 to 30% possession, less than 200 passes a game sometimes. He's coming, and we can clearly see in the two friendlies that we've played already, there's a vast difference in the style of football, which we wanted to see, been crying out desperate to see. We've seen the players that seem to be enjoying the training. Yes, they all come back at various staggered times. And yes, they didn't win the first game against West Ham, but you could see what was happening. But in all of that, all of the great stuff that we talked about, we saw the passes, we saw Basuma enjoying himself, we saw Ndombele look like they were all having a great time. Harry Kane not saying too much, but Harry Kane's still there, enjoying training. We still haven't had the main thing which we were crying out for. We conceded 63 or 64 goals in the Premier League last season, and we were playing a defensive formation. And we have not got anything close to getting our centre-backs. So 2 performances, as I said to you before, I think there were 4 shots on goal or 5 shots in total, not just on shot on target, in total, and 4 goals are scored against us. That tells us everything that we need to know. So as much as he's got training going right and everybody seems to be enjoying it. We need to get the defense, or we're going to have Ozzy Ardiles, Kevin Keegan season.
And the thing is with Ange, and I think David Clark is saying it here as well. I like Ange. I think he's a breath of fresh air, but Levy will soon make him depressed. In his press conferences, he's very energetic, and he seems to be one of these managers that ain't going to take any shit from no one. He'll give them the answers that they want, but if they talk out of line, he'll put them straight, like he did with that Bayern Munich press guy with the shirt on. In training, we can see he's been playing with two different teams, with two different sets of players and formation. Well, not formations, but defensive partnerships. Now, going on to what we're going to talk about here, right? And before we do, I just want to say every other club seems to be doing their business, right? Every other club are not telling the whole world who they're going for and announcing it day in, day out, and not then pursuing it. Arsenal, for example, lost the PL title last year. However, they've now gone out and bought a defender. They've bought a midfielder, yeah, and more. They've gone out and done it. They've not talked about it. Oh, we're going to go and get him. We're going to go and get him. We're going to go and get him. Yeah, they've gone and done it. Aston Villa, who towards the end of last season were very good, have gone out and they've bought two players that we potentially wanted. Or one of them, this defender we've been after for ages. Chelsea have gone out and bought players. Brighton have gone out and bought players. Everyone's gone out and bought players, while Daniel Levy and Tottenham Hotspur are telling the whole world who we're going to buy and who our potential players are. So, as we move on to this part, don't laugh here. You might like it a little bit, but just don't laugh. Yeah? So, who is in and who is out? Right?
That looked like, you know, when you press your phone on, I don't know if you've got an Apple phone, when you press to try and change the home screen and the things start to shake. That's what that was like.
Yeah. I had to do that because sometimes, you know what, that's the club that's the state this club is in, a comic state. But it's who's in and who's out, right? Wait, who do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the ins or the outs? And before we do that, I just want to welcome everyone that's in the chat. Dinosaur, good evening to you. David Clark, good evening. Johnny Bethnal. Oh, where's the thing gone? What's going on here? Here we go. Johnny Bethnal Green / Kent. All of you are in the house. Thank you for joining us. What do you want to talk with?
Right, before we start that ins and outs thing, because you just mentioned about other teams getting their business done and getting it right. So think about this. The business that we did get done, Solomon and Maddison, they came out of nowhere. Even the keeper, although we were chasing rare, they got the keeper done relatively quickly. So my point is, I really believe there's a smoke and mirrors game going off in here. All this Harry Kane saga is a bit of a distraction. As I said in the chat, I'm watching the magician's hands. I'm watching the court jester's hands, because they're doing all this stuff and nothing's happening with the centre-backs. We've been linked to this Van der Ven, been linked to this Tap Soda for ages. I've heard all the deals were done in terms of personal deals. Obviously, we ain't got in terms of what the clubs want. But I heard, not a problem. Van der Ven, 35. Tap Soda, 45 to 50. Now, if they were the prices then, what's happened? Because all of a sudden, weeks have gone by, and now I'm hearing, oh, well, the clubs hadn't talked, and now Tap Soda, we never had any intention of letting him go. He's a player that we want. Van der Ven, the price has gone up. Liverpool were interested in. This is not deals that have been, talked about and done and like pretty much there. This just seems to me like we're still searching for these deals, because the other things got done really quickly. Maddison got done overnight pretty much, and Solomon just came out of nowhere, done, and the keeper, after we were living with Rare, we moved on. So I think it's a media game, as well as the club. I think the club allow all this to happen, and they don't mind all the talk happening, because the more stories out there, the less people are going to actually know what's going on, in my opinion.
And the thing is as well, like you said, this Tapsoba and Van der Veer, it's been going on for how long, right? Our end of last season, like you've said already, and you've reiterated, we conceded 63, 64 goals. In pre-season, like you just said, the two teams we've played against have had about 5, 6 shots on target, and we've conceded 4
Not
goals.
even on target, Sid.
Not in total, right? We've looked at the setup and the way he wants to play. When we play the likes of Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and the cities, they're going to absolutely demolish us, because the highline defending with Romero and whoever's playing with him, yeah, it's not going to work against these clubs. We know since last season before, we need centre-backs. And I think somebody put in a stat as well, since Alderweireld, we've brought in about 2 defenders or something. Now, this Tapsoba, I'm not going to lie to you, Sam, I don't know about you, I was expecting a high-profile centre-back to come in, maybe 2. We've gone from Bastoni, Guardiols, to Tapsoba, Van der Veer, and that what's it? I think
Tosin.
Yeah, Tosin. Yeah, let's call him Tosin.
Yeah.
Right. We've gone to them. Yeah. So we've gone from potential top centre backs now to these defenders. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about Tapsoba. I don't know much about Van der Veer, right? And Tosin, I've not read much about him. I don't know what he's like as a defender. Bearing in mind, these defenders now are going to come in as potentially first choice centre backs, right? First choice centre backs to play alongside Romero. So they're going to have to come in guns blazing, yeah? And the 2 defenders we're talking about, we've gone from 40 million deals that were done, dusted, everything's done, personal terms agreed, to nothing, to now don't even come to us with less than 60 million or 70 million. Nothing's been agreed. He doesn't want to leave now. He's happy. We don't want to leave him. Liverpool are now coming for Van der Veer. I don't know what's going on. And I totally agree with you, Sam. I think it's been all a smoke screen from Daniel Levy and the hierarchy. Now we've got this Joe Lewis business going on in the background, but Spurs are saying it's got nothing to do with the club. We've got 14 days left of the Premier League season, starting at Brentford. And what did Ange say? I want my players to come with me to pre-season so I can embed them into the team and into my philosophy and my way of playing. It's not happening. It's not happened. And how long does this go on now? Or even if we actually buy a player, because I've said it to you and I've said it on the group, I don't think we're going to get in a defender or a centre-back before Brentford. I don't know if you agree or not, Sam.
There's a lot to take in from what you've just said. I'm going to try. I'm going to get to that point, but I'm going to just go back a few more points anyway that you said. You said we conceded 60 odd goals last season, which we did. You said if we come up against the likes of Arsenal, Man City's, Liverpool's, teams that are basically attacking, we're going to get our arse handed to us, and potentially we could, because we have to outscore them. At the moment, we aren't really scoring loads of goals. What I mean by that, yes, we scored 5 against the pub team. We scored 2 against West Ham. But in both those games, we had over 30 shots and probably somewhere in between at least 10 on target, more than 10. So we're not clinical at the moment. That's going to get harder as the Premier League starts against better opposition with better defenders who've got better attackers. So if we don't outscore the opposition and we're conceding goals at a rate of 4 goals for 5 shots being taken, what do you see happening? Because I can only see games where it's going to be, we're going to get beat 4-1 and we might be a 3-2. We might win a game because the other team weren't clinical or they weren't at the same level as they should be. But the really good teams, the teams that were all above us last season, are going to see, oh, if we play it decently, we don't allow them to score, we will score against their defense. And that's really a concern. Going to your other point, we've known for bloody years about our defenders. We've known for years that our defense is not very good since the days of Alderweireld and Vertonghen, and they've gone. You know, we've been crying out to get defenders in. we've seen the numbers that have come in terms of the Rodons. We've seen Romero coming. We've seen Tanganga merge. We've seen Sanchez come in. Dyer is just an ever-present. But they're not good enough apart from Romero. I'm going to take Romero out of that, obviously. But what will happen to him is he'll get drawn into all of this kamikaze type defending. Ben Davies at centre-back, he's just about, 5'11", 6 foot tall. He can't be a centre-back in a back two. He's not big enough. The players that we're now linked with, the players that we're linked with are players that are coming from abroad. They're not Premier League players. It's going to take them time to adapt. They're not going to get any pre-season. Defensive units are not as hard to coach as attacking units, but you still need to get positional sense. You still need to get a sense of being able to play with your teammates. You still need to know what you're doing. You still need to have had experience of playing in the Premier League to be able to play at the top level against the top teams. None of that's going to happen between now and when we play Brentford. So all I can see is an undercooked team. Yes, we might be great going forward, but it won't take very long to work us out. It won't take very long. I've worked us out already. I know how we can get beaten quite easily. Very easy. And teams like Brentford, oh my God, if they put two players up top and they play a 4-4-2 and defending units and they get the ball into the channels, we are stuffed. Luckily, they got Ivan Toney, but that might not make a difference. So it's of a concern to me.
They didn't have Ivan Toney when we played them towards the end of the season and they stopped us, if you remember. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a big problem. It is a big problem. And yes, Ange has said, I'm going to get at least one centre-back come in before the season starts. But deep down, he must have expected that defender to come in by now. Because like we're saying, we've got 2 weeks left. They come back, don't they? And then I think they play Barcelona and Shakhtar at home and away. And then the season starts. So,
and they've had one game cancelled, remember? So it's one less game.
Yeah.
And they'll probably have some behind the doors, what they say, behind closed doors games. Yeah. But that's still only going to be practice matches against lower level opposition. It's going to be interesting when we do play the likes of Barcelona because they got beat 5-3 by Arsenal recently. But again, Barcelona, I haven't seen them enough to know how they play anymore, what they're like. But it's Barcelona at the end of the day. So,
and also, if you listen to Xavi's comments as well, he said we're just coming back to pre-season and we're embedding our players, whereas Arsenal played the cup final. Well, Arsenal played the cup final and they beat us 5-3, which I thought was quite amusing. But yeah, so, and I think we got Leicester. I think under 21s are playing Leicester this weekend, and then I've heard that he's going to put a good strength team out. So I'm assuming if they're already back in England, some of the players are going to get him in that one. But it's concerning. It's concerning the fact that I'm going to talk about the outs. We've got Winks has gone, right? The rumours are Atletico Madrid want Højbjerg, or everything's discussed, personal terms, everything. But I believe there's an issue, 20 million. Hold on, I think Davis put on here, or somebody's put, 20 million euros or something they've offered. Daniel Levy said no. That's one. Sanchez to Shakhtar has now fallen through, apparently, because he doesn't want to go there. And also, the FA or the Prem are saying that no team should be dealing with any Russian clubs. I don't know what's happening with that one. But Sanchez has turned around and said, no, I don't want to go. So now the players are holding the club to ransom by saying, sorry, if a bid comes in, I'm not going if I don't want to go. So we're going to be stuck with him unless something happens. And Ndombele, I could have gone to Australia on his ticket because it looks like they've just taken him for a free ride. He's got a free trip to Australia, gone and see Sydney Harbour and the Opera House and everything, home and away and the neighbours set, and he's come back. What was the point of that one? Yes, I'm going to give him an opportunity. Okay, he got injured, but seriously? So that's that one. Lo Celso's played well. Okay, yeah, but like I said to you, mate, that's his 2 games good football. He'll probably not turn up for Spurs. That's another one. We've not got rid of any players. So it's this situation now, isn't it? I've heard yesterday or the day before that we've got to sell to buy. I thought we've already got loads of money. What's happening? Where are these signings?
Sorry.
No, go on.
I think you're right. I think you said it. I think the club's business in terms of their transfer outs has been terrible for years. It's been terrible. We've either given players away, or we can't get rid of players, or it's last minute deals and we can't get anybody in. Berbatovs, the Bale deals, all those sort of things all come back and on us. And we've seen all the stuff when we got all them players in, and we've got Sessegnon in, and we got, who else did we get in that transfer window? We've got so many players in, and all of them players that we got into that transfer window ain't really made it. We've got Jed Spence, who's come, really great prospect, not even seen him. You know, we've been buying players and paying them a lot of money for them to be not very good. Sanchez, 42 million. He was supposed to be the next great defender. He was going to be, come from the Ajax system, all the rest of it. It looks like he can't play in bloody League One. His defending was terrible in that West Ham game. I watched him. I just said he can't do that type of defending. And if a defender doesn't know that at this age, not let alone a professional, but at this age, there's a real problem in there. So we can't get rid of players because we've either got them on too high wages or the settings is too comfortable. Who in their right mind is going to go to Russia to play football now? Well, who's sorting these deals out? Why would you agree a deal for £12 million with Spartak Moscow? Who's going?
Yeah.
Would you go?
I wouldn't go. No.
Just come on. So whoever's making these deals is just not talking to the players, because that's an easy one. Sanchez, you know what I mean? We've got some contact going off with Spartak Moscow here. Possibility that we ain't said anything yet, but we could do a deal. No, I don't want to go. That's all he would have to have done. That's all you have to do. Not put it out in the media and make everybody think, it's just terrible.
It's like you said, mate. It's all smokes and it's all screens, and you know, Daniel Levy's trying to look like a good person here by telling everyone that, I have tried to sell him. I have tried to buy that player. I did offer them 40 million for Tapsoba. I did offer 30 million for Van der Veen. You know, I'm now looking at Tosin. I've offered, but apparently Tosin doesn't want to come now. He wants to go to Monaco as well. So it just, for me, I haven't, I'm sat there now thinking, Brentford game, we're not going to have any new centre-backs. And then the first home game of the season against Manchester United, it's going to be Aussie or dealers football, where we're going to get absolutely rinsed and pickpocketed and taken to the cleaners. And it's mutiny is going to be beginning that game, because the first home game of the season, and everyone's going to be behind Postecoglou. And then you're going to see no signings apart from Maddison and Solomon and the goalkeeper. And if United absolutely steamrollers, as David's saying here, the big problem I can foresee is that Ange will not wait as long as Conte did to make his feelings known to Levy. And we all know what happens when coaches have a bust up with Levy.
Yeah, I'm gonna just jump onto that point as well. You said it earlier on in the conversation. Ange seems to not take any shit in this type of job. In any type of front-facing, front of house job like this, you do have to have the press type of decorum. You do have to be able to speak, and he's very good at that. He's very, very good at speaking in the press and all the rest of it. But when I've seen him lose in the Celtic press conferences, he's very honest. He doesn't. That was rubbish or whatever. And he says things as they are. If that wasn't working, he'll say that and he'll take the responsibility. But he'll also call things out. Now he's already put himself in a position and said, we are going to try and do some business at centre back, because we know that's the problem. He's blah, 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 all the rest of it. He didn't come in the front door and say, I need this player out. He said he's taken all 30 odd to Australia, Singapore, and all the way to the place where they've gone, and he wants to see him. So the fact that Ndombele didn't play out there, I'm not too bothered. He's got to see what his attitude's like, because most of these players, it's about their attitude. GLC, like you said, he might play 2 great games out there. Is his attitude going to be, I want to play for Spurs, or do I want to go back to Spain? But for some of the players, it's too nice at Spurs. It's too nice for Eric Dyer. He's in his last year of his contract, but he don't want to go nowhere. He'll go for free next season. Probably some people would say that's great, but it's not good business. Harry Kane, why would he go anywhere now? But he probably could do. But we are in the last month of the transfer window with 2 weeks to go to the season. We can't get players out, Sid. And I also believe you have to take some of the stories with a pinch of salt, because I haven't got a clue what's going on. And I said, I think Spurs like this. I think the more stories out there, the more that we keep doing this and making our assumptions, when we finally do get things in, it'll be like this. Oh, well, we had to take that 85 of Harry Kane because we were going to lose him on a free, but then I've been told we're going to keep him at all costs because he's going to sign a... So it doesn't matter what the stories are. They'll fit whatever narrative is, whatever the result will be. So if Harry Kane does go before, it's like, well, we had no choice because he wanted to go. But look, we got 85 million and we managed to buy a little young player in here. Smoke and mirrors, mate. We need world-class centre-backs and we have to have a world-class striker.
So what you've just said there, I think Moljo is, I think I said it before as well, Sid, why was you expecting top-class defenders to come to Spurs? 8th in the league. We are swimming in a smaller pond at the moment. Right, so last season, if we had got it together, we could have, and I'm not just talking now, I'm talking in general, even last summer or the summer before, we should have had all these, when we was linked to the likes of Koundés and Guardiols and Bastonis and everybody. We probably could have still got some of them this summer, but the problem is, remember Chelsea went one season without being in Europe, and then the following season, they just stormed the Prem. They won the league. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but if we got these players in, we've got a new manager, there's belief there, right? Kane situation is going to unravel itself at some point. Then you've got a chance. But if you're then looking at defenders that we've never heard of, all right, in Europe, they might have been known, or I can understand. Phillips, again, Blackburn Rovers, we offer 3 million, everything done, dusted. Now what we're hearing is it's completely blown out the window. They want 9 million or something for him.
Do you see the same theme? Every single theme is the same. They
This
want more. The deal's done, but now they want more. Why is every team saying now they want more? Surely they would say, well, it's a deal or not. This is what happens is Spurs say, we want to pay free, and they start throwing this out there such that when other teams say, hold on a minute, that's not what we said. It's like, well, I thought, and we start saying, well, I thought the price was 5 million. Now, so they're trying to push the burden onto the other team. But when we come to do our business, we hold out for the ransom. We hold out for the highest price. We don't just give away our players. We can't have it both ways. This is what Tottenham try and do. They have it both ways, and they use the media in that sense to give us this false narrative that we've been looking at defenders. We ain't had no deals in play. I don't even think we've been close to any deals. Because I don't think defenders want to come here because of what they've seen that's happened at this club. And they've seen the defence that we've got. And until we get rid of some of them players, no one's going to want to come here. I don't see it. Not high class anyway.
Yeah. I mean, £3 million agreed. I'm just talking about Phillips now from Blackburn. £3 million agreed. Terms and conditions, everything done. Personal terms agreed. And then all of a sudden, they want more money. So if you've already agreed to 3 million personal terms of agreed, now why do they want 9 million? That to me just smells like the 3 million has never been agreed.
That's what I said. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So it's just, I think a lot of it is coming from the club. I don't know where it's coming from, but there's a lot of these press and a lot of social medias just retweets, and one person puts it out and then it's just gone everywhere and everyone's tweeting the same story. We don't know because the club's not coming out and telling us exactly, yes, we did put 3 million bid in, but Blackburn, blah, blah, blah. We don't know because they're not telling us nothing. We're hearing it from other sources and other people. We don't even know if an actual bid and personal terms have been agreed. We don't know.
Let me ask you something then. Remember when Paratici first come in and we all got told, Paratici loves to spin plates. He loves to be able to have this deal almost done. And he's got about 9 or 10 things on the go. And then if one doesn't work out, then he'll pull the deal and close that one out. That's how we was told and sold that. Do you think this is part of the game then? Do you think that all these names that they're talking about are just, as I said, smoke screens and smokes and mirrors and, you know what I mean, the sleight of hand, but we've actually got somebody in place that they're looking to get that's going to get done quickly, just like the Solomon deals, just like the Madison deal, just like the Vicario deal. Do you think that's part of the plan?
I don't think anything's going to get done. Honestly, I don't think they've got anything in place. I don't know what's going on. And this Kane situation, I think Daniel Levy's putting all his eggs in that basket and he's just concentrating on that. And I think a lot of the other transfers have been put on hold. They're just relying on what people are coming up with and allowing that to go. I think he's more bothered about Kane. And I think when the season starts, whatever outcome of Kane is when the truth will come out and say, we've concentrated on Kane and we wanted A, either to keep him at all costs, or B, to sell him for the maximum money. And I think that's everything, because now this meeting that was supposed to happen allegedly today now has been put back to next week because Daniel Levy's playing hardball and Daniel Levy wants to teach them a lesson. I don't believe that. And I think everyone now is getting... Kane's not saying a word. He's not coming out saying, I want to stay, I want to go. He's been offered a lot of money. We don't know what's going on. And this is going to drag, and it's going to drag. And then the season's going to start. And knowing Daniel Levy 2 days before, because I know they're coming in with a bigger bid. I know they're coming in. Yeah. And I just hope to God that he doesn't wait till 2 days before the season starts and says, right, I've sold him, with Richarlison starting up top. That is going to be a massive problem.
It will. My thing about the Harry Kane thing is it's going to happen one way or the other. At some point, we're not going to have Harry Kane playing for Tottenham Hotspur. That's obviously inevitable. But the problem we've got is we've got a new manager, we've got a new season coming up. If nothing happens in terms of he either goes now or he stays and signs a contract, all that means is all this story just rumbles on. It doesn't matter if they don't get sold to Bayern Munich this summer. He said this, he's not signing a contract this summer, supposedly. This is all in the media, so I'm only going by what the media says. He's not signing a contract this summer. And if I was Harry Kane, I wouldn't sign a contract. But all that means is re-roll to January with all this media speculation. Is Harry Kane going to sign a pre-contract in January? Is Harry Kane going to sign a contract with Tottenham? Is Harry Kane going to do... And all you're getting is deflections against a manager that's now trying to put together a whole team. So not only does he not think he's going to have a player there next season because he doesn't know, because the player hasn't said he's going to be there unless they've had these meetings behind closed doors, but every single press conference, I guarantee you, if Harry Kane doesn't perform well or so, what's Harry Kane's mental state? Is he thinking about moving? And that's all he's going to get. If I was him, I'd be like, oh, again?
Yeah.
And that's going to deflect from what he's actually been brought in to do, which I think if he was allowed to do, will do a fantastic job. But it's going to take time, and it's probably going to take more time than I've even anticipated because we just can't sort our shit out at all.
And this Kane situation, we're not going to talk anymore because it's going to rumble on and on and on and on. And you know what? You can talk for hours and hours on ends on why he should stay, why he should go. But let everyone else do that. We've had our say on it, and we'll discuss that further as and when something actually happens with that one. Let's have a look at some of these comments here. David Clark is saying here, Royal has to start at right back and Poro will have to fight for a place on the right of a front three with Kulu and Solomon. I agree. I'm not that convinced with him at this precise moment. Across the pond, Sports Talk. Hola, FTSN Sports Crew. Good evening. Johnny Bethnal Green saying, if it makes any difference, Ange has got them playing 90-minute games in training. You remember that thing about Jose Mourinho? Was it Conte that made him do whatever? And then that didn't work. But you know what?
You can get fitness, but you can't get the match sharpness that you can from playing any competitive game. Any sportsman in team sport will tell you that. You can play because what they do in boxing, sometimes they do 15 rounds of boxing. They might do 18 rounds of boxing to prepare for a 12-round fight. But yet, when they go into a 12-round fight, it's completely different than trying to box 18 rounds. It's the same with this football thing. They might do 90 minutes in training, but until they play Brentford in 2 weeks' time,
we don't know.
The only time we'll know, Sid.
Our dealers football back at the lane. Jews nuts. Mol Joe saying here, I think it's right that Sanchez doesn't go to Russia, Sid, whilst what about his family, Sid, and
of course
terrible racism over there. And
we didn't even mention any of that. That was, I mean, I didn't even want to go into the racism side.
I didn't.
But I just wanted to, just from a practical perspective, why would anybody, not just the black, a black man go there. But why would anybody want to go to Russia?
Yeah. And the thing is, with that just proves where our club's at. Because the first thing they should have done is, if that bid's come in, don't make it public, don't nothing. Go to the player and say, listen, we've had a bid in. Do you really want to go to Russia? No. Okay, end. But no, we put it all out. We've had a bid, blah, blah, blah. Spurs are talking. No, I think that's bad from Spurs to actually, take a bid in and make it public. They should have gone to the player first, had a word with his player, family, agents, whoever, representatives, and then,
So what it does, it puts the player in a bad light because they've made it public and he said no. If all this has been true and he says no, it makes us as fans, our first is, why is he not gone? That's it. That's because we all want him gone. We don't want to see Sanchez to go, but he's a human being at the end of the day. He's got to go and work. This is his job.
Yeah.
If I was told, right, I'm going to transfer, you're going out to Russia, mate. That's it. I'd be like, hold on a minute. I'm not quite, just on a personal level, they're human beings at the end of the day. And now they're just being treated like this. I'm not surprised most of these players that don't want to go because they're being paid a lot of money and it's nice and comfy down there. And if they're going to be treated in certain ways that things like this happen, they're not going to do us favors. They're not going to so they're not going to say, I'm going to do Spurs a favor by going. You have to pay them off, like what Arsenal did, like what other teams done. If you want to get them off the books, you're going to have to pay these players off to make room to bring other players in.
This is it. And Daniel Levy ain't certainly going to do that. So,
ain't doing that.
Good evening, Mr. K. Dino saying here, Levy is focused on a buyback deal on Kane, buying meeting on Monday. David Clark is obviously reiterating what everyone else was saying. Why would any black player go to live in such a racist country, irrespective of the conflict? Mr. K saying, Sid, we're winning the league this season. Come on, you Spurs. Our very own Sean Hill is in the house. We have 37 professional senior players, which is ridiculous, and only 18 or something on a match day going to be available. So let's see what's happening. David Clark, I've just read a profile on the two lawyers who are legally employed to oversee Joe Louis' family trust, and according to what his article said, they have been awarded control over Joe Louis. That's a different conversation to have on a different day.
Smoke screen again.
Is. This is it. Sean Earl Levy as master negotiator is a myth. One only he and the board believe. Sean Earl is saying again here, what centre back comes to a club that's about to sell its goal scoring talisman? Do you know what? This is the situation, isn't it? This is all going to happen, and I'm going to wrap up in a couple of minutes. This is all going to be, if as a defender now you're being looked at to come and play for Spurs, and potentially you're going to be your partner in Romero, and then you see that your talisman, the main man, the top goal scorer, one of the best top scorers in the world, is going to leave. What would you be thinking? What would your mindset be then, Sam?
No European football, not any European football. So no Champions League, no Europa League. You've seen what our team has been like. We're in a change. There's players who are supposed to be going. There's new managers in. There's all this going off. It's a lot of confusion going off at Spurs. You see what happened at Chelsea when they had a whole load of players that was in a massive, overly inflated squad. It doesn't work. You're going to have to tell some of these players every single week, you're not even part of the match day squad. You're not even part of the match day squad. Then you're going to get to a point where you're going to say, you're not even part of the training squad, let alone being able to play for Spurs on a match day. You're not even going to be able to train as a 25, 26 players. Then what's going to happen? You're going to let them all just go off on loan? That hasn't happened because none of them have gone off on loan yet. Are you going to just say, you can go and play with the under 21s? It's going to be a problem because you've got people there that have been at the club a long time and they're just, I just want to get to this game and I want to see what we're like against Brentford. Then I can make a real judgment about how our season's going to go in terms of our defense if we don't have players coming, because you can quite easily see what would happen if we get a real toasting by certain players. And the way they start to play, there's going to be a style of play that we're not going to like to see against us. And I think Brentford will probably epitomise that. 2 up top. That's it.
Exactly. Right. So in terms of transfers out, we haven't got a clue what's going to happen. In terms of coming in, we haven't got a clue who's coming in. Again, they don't make their minds up. We've got 2 weeks to the Premier League season starts. We've got 2 friendlies coming. If anything does happen, and if anything does materialize in terms of transfers in or out, Sid Says, Paxton Road TV will be on it. I've got nothing more to add because there's nothing more to go. And if we talk about certain things, we'll be here forever. And that topics for different days, different conversations. Sam, you got anything else to add on that?
No, I'll move this way. Talking points.
Yes.
Look out for that. I like that. That's quite good.
Look out for talking points because there will be loads of talking points.
You know what, Sid? I am actually looking forward to watching us play football because what I've seen is going to be entertaining. That's one thing we will honestly be able to say. We'll have entertaining football. The other thing I will say is us as fans, I'm looking directly at the camera now, us as fans are going to keep Postecoglou in a job or not. It's down to us whether he stays or whether he goes. Because he's already stated, and all the Celtic fans will tell you the same thing. We're going to have some rough moments in the beginning of the season. We're going to probably have quite a few rough moments because we've got so much going on, more so than what Celtic probably had. But what I would say is us as fans have to realise what we've had in that past 3 or 4 years of to what we potentially could have now. And a lot of the players seem to be enjoying it. So we have to stay with him. We've got to stay with him.
We have to, and with what he's got his plan. We've got to at least let him start the season, put his team out, put his methods out, put his the way he wants to play. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
We can't blame him for the defensive process. Even if he doesn't coach defending, let's say, because that's what he said, he's an attacking-minded coach. That's what he's going to focus on. Let's not even worry about that because the managers that came in who were defensive coaches couldn't coach our defenders. So you may as well just forget defending now and just rely on trying to keep that ball and outscoring our teams and hope when we come up against them better teams who are going to be more clinical, that they have off days and we can somehow strangle the life out of them and somehow that's the only way we're going to beat the likes of Man City because it would be frightening. Imagine that. Yeah,
and the thing is, let's be optimistic. Let's be as hopeful as Angie's when he's saying, "I want to get a centre back in before the season starts." Which centre back comes in, we're going to probably have to be happy with whoever comes in, whether it's like Dino saying, Cameron Carter-Vickers.
My last little bit, and then I'm going to stop talking. Yeah, if we get one centre back, all it takes is one injury, and we're back to square one. If Romero gets injured, one of them others has got to come in. If the new centre back comes in and gets injured or doesn't perform well, then he's not doing. So, with the worst case scenarios, we get a new centre back in, Romero gets injured, the centre back's not doing too well. We've got a massive problem that people don't understand. It's a huge problem at the back. Huge problem.
The idea was to get one solid defense centre back with a second one as a standby. But it seems like we're not even getting the solid or the standby. We're getting below that standard. I don't know, well, not standard, but below standby. Because, like you said, we get whoever we get in. Say we get in
Longley,
yeah, or Tosin. If one of them gets injured, then we've got a problem, yeah.
I don't think we're getting I think we're getting, all this is the thing where I'm talking about the smoke screen. The Longley thing, no one's talking about him anymore and saying nothing's been agreed with. No one is talking about the talks with Barcelona and all this stuff. You are, but we're not hearing it in the news. We're not hearing all this media, Barcelona are holding out. I've maybe heard that once or twice. I'm hearing about all these other ones. So this is my conspiracy truth-seeking theory. I think we're going to have all this. It's going to be coming. They've turned us down. Tosin's not coming because he wants to come on and go. All the stories come out. Clement Longley. He's been at Spurs before. We've got him. We've managed to get him off Barcelona. Guess what? And we got him for 5 million. But he was only going to be about 5 million anyway. But we forgot about all that stuff. So we're just thankful and grateful that we've got a centre back. And that's how the game works. That's how it works.
I've said it on the groups, guys, didn't I? I've said it. That Longley is a deal that's going to come through at some point. That's going to be the centre back that we're going to end up getting. And Daniel Levy's going to say, There you go, boys.
There
you go, boys.
What do you want me to do? No one wants to come here. I've just had to deal with Barcelona here. Here you go. Longley, he's been here before. He knows the score. He's played with you lot before. He's comfortable. He's just not good enough. That's all the problem.
Exactly. And Jews nuts, and we're going to end on this. We need a talking pints. I can get into that. There you go. Colin Turner is saying here, two quality centre backs, nothing else will do. Embarrassing. And then he's saying here, Langley to Spurs, Leeville will make sure for next to nothing. Nobody wants to deal with Longley. So that is it in terms of transfers, ins and outs. We know the ins. We know what we want. We know what Ange wants. But it's what you want is not always what you get. He's going to end up being like Oliver Twist and going up to Daniel Levy and saying, please, sir, can I have a centre back? In terms of outs, there's a lot of players that need to go out. As Sean said, we've got 37 senior professional players. But like you said, Sam, the only way we're going to get rid of these players is if we buy their contracts out and let them go for free. Because we're not going to...
Yeah. Like ones who are coming, like Dyer apparently has got 1 year left. Now, the problem with Dyer is every manager that comes in says he's a good leader, he's a good round the club. But that's fantastic. You can get people who are good round the club that don't necessarily have to be players. Yeah, he might be good in the dressing room, but if he's not contributing on the field, he's a cheerleader. That's what he is. He's a cheerleader. And I don't care what anybody says. If you're good around, that's brilliant. But if you're not contributing for what you've been employed to do, which is play football and play well as a centre-back, you're a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So get rid of him. Just get rid of him.
This is it. But, like, here we go, Colin. Levy wants top dollars when selling and pay peanuts when buying. 100%. And last comment, David Clark. I said last season that Spurs are not feeding at the top table and we are under the table looking for scraps, but we are not even being fed the bones. Newcastle United, Aston Villa, Brighton now are, and in my opinion, are now sort of overtaking us in terms of feeding at the table because they're getting players, they're playing football, they got chairmen that are backing them, whereas we, like David is saying here, we're not even being fed bones because everybody else is coming in and taking players that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So we're doing the advertise. We should be an advertising company. That's what we're doing. We're advertising players for other people to come and take the players and offer.
Our one saving grace, Sid, sorry to interrupt you again, is that we've only got, I say only, we've got Premier League and whatever domestic cups. We're not in Europe. So those teams that you've mentioned, the Aston Villas, the Newcastles, blah, blah, the teams that finished above us have got more games that they're going to be involved with. Should give us the edge. So when we do come to play them, some of them may have played a midweek Champions League game. They may have played a midweek Europa Conference, whatever it was. If we go week to week, getting our best players out there, regardless of what defensive, we should still have a good opportunity to win those games because of the style of football that we play. It's confidence. It's all that stuff. It's going to be eroded very quickly. For instance, we've got a brand new goalkeeper. People forget that as well. A new keeper from a new league, from a league that's not the Premiership. He's not playing the Premiership before, should I say?
Yeah.
And if you've got a defence that's constantly getting you battered and you're getting players that are now aerially attacking you, you're not used to this. We might have a De Gea here for the first couple of seasons. Do you know what I mean? And what are we going to do? Get rid of him because he's not good enough? It might not be that he's not good enough. His confidence is just eroded because of his defence. It's a mess.
This is it. This transfers is frustrating, and it's really frustrating because I wanted to do a show every week, but it's the same old crap, same old stories, and same old people that we're talking about. So that's why I've not been on for a while. And hopefully next week I might be able to do another one with potential signings or not. But if not, then we'll definitely do a talking points and we can discuss more. Thank you, everybody, in the comment sections for all your comments. Thank you very much, Sam, for joining us tonight. Like
Sorry,
I said to you,
we try and be enthusiastic here, but it's very difficult when we can see a pattern. I can clearly, I know you can, Sid, and you've been talking about it for a long time. There's a clear pattern here, and unless I see, as you said, them holding up that Spurs shirt.
This is it.
We don't believe nothing. I don't believe nothing what goes on now more. Just go with the flow.
Just go with the flow. Yeah. So, like I said, everyone, thank you very much for joining us. Please make sure you smash like and subscribe to the channel. Also, PRTV as well, which will be running parallel to this, and then we'll be taking over come the first game of the season. Hope you have a lovely weekend, everyone. Please put all your requests in for a transfer of the new centre backs, because I want to talk about our brand new centre backs coming in the next week or two. Who knows? But in the meantime, stay safe. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy your summer holidays with the kids, whoever's off, and we will see you next week. Take care. Good evening.